Most breakups end with silence. Mine ended with an ultimatum. It was a cold November night when my phone buzzed at exactly 3 o'clock a.m., a time that felt like it was built for nightmares. I was half asleep, wrapped in my blanket, when the vibration jolted through my pillow. I squinted at the screen, expecting a random promotional message. But it wasn't spam. It was his name. Daniel. I froze. I hadn't seen or heard from him in 2 years. Not since the night I ran barefoot through the rain, blood on my hands, his screams echoing behind me like a ghost chained to my spine. I changed my phone number. I moved cities. I cut every tie and every trace. I thought I was safe. But his message burned cold across my screen. I need an apology. You owe me that. Tomorrow, midnight, in no threats, no explanation. Just those words. I stared at it so long I forgot to breathe. My fingers trembled. Memories I had buried under therapy and distance tore their way out, ripping through me like broken glass. Daniel's voice, smooth, calm, and always 2 steps away from violence, echoed in my mind. Everything I do is to protect you. The lies, the gaslighting, the bruises shaped like fingerprints. The night I forced the thought away. I blocked him, or tried to. The second my thumb hovered over the block button, another notification popped up. Unknown number. Blocking me won't work. We both know that. My heart stopped. How did he still know my number? How did he find me again? Before I could react, ping, a photo appeared. I felt the blood drain from my body. It was a picture taken from outside my apartment window. The angle was slightly tilted, like someone hiding in the bushes. In the photo, my living room light glowed through the curtains. My silhouette stood inside, looking down at my phone, the exact position I was in that moment. My hands went numb. He was here. Midnight, another message flashed. If you don't, someone else will pay. Attached was another image, my younger brother, Arun, walking outside his college campus, smiling with friends. The timestamp read 10 minutes ago. I dropped my phone. Every instinct in me screamed to call the police. But I knew Daniel better than I ever wanted to. Police meant escalation. Escalation meant blood. And Daniel never threatened. He promised. I paced the room, trying to breathe, trying to think. I wanted to believe he was bluffing. But Daniel never bluffed. The worst part? I knew exactly what he wanted an apology for. For leaving him. For surviving him. For exposing who he really was. For stealing his power. Daniel wasn't always a monster. Or maybe he was, and I was too blind to see it. We met during university orientation, 2 strangers lost in a crowd. He was charming in a magnetic, dangerous way. The kind of person everyone noticed when he walked into a room. The kind of person who always knew the exact words to say. He made me feel seen, special, chosen. He remembered tiny details. He showed up with surprises. He read poetry to me at midnight. He promised forever. The first red flag was small. He isolated me from my friends, saying they didn't appreciate me, that only he really cared. The second was harder to ignore. He tracked my location. He said it was for safety. The third was impossible to forget. The night he grabbed my jaw so hard I couldn't chew for days because I laughed at another boy's joke. That night he cried and apologized, begging on his knees, swearing he would change. He made me believe love was pain disguised as devotion. I stayed. Until the night I almost didn't leave alive. The silence of my apartment, my eyes burning, my pulse violent. My body was shaking, not from fear, but from something colder. Rage. Daniel wanted an apology. For what he did to me. For what he stole. For what he became. No, but he had my brother. And that changed everything. I picked up my phone with a steadier hand than I expected. My voice didn't even shake when I hit record and said, "Fine, midnight. But after that, we're done." A message flashed back instantly, like he'd been waiting with breathless excitement. Good girl. Same place where you left me to die. My stomach twisted. I knew exactly where that meant. The abandoned railway bridge on the edge of the city. The one I ran from 2 years ago. The one where everything ended, and where it might end again. I checked the time, 3:14 a.m. Midnight was 9 hours away. I had that long to decide. Run, fight, or finally face the monster I created. Because there was one truth I never told anyone. The night I left Daniel bleeding on that bridge, I wasn't sure whether he lived or died. And now he wanted payback. By the time the sun rose, I had already packed a bag. Nothing dramatic, just essentials. A burner phone, pepper spray, a flashlight, a small pocket knife I hoped I wouldn't need. I was shaking when I locked the apartment door behind me, but my face felt numb, frozen into something expressionless and hollow. Like a mask, the same mask I wore during the final months I spent with Daniel. Outside, the morning felt wrong. Too quiet, too still. Like the world was waiting for something terrible to happen. Every shadow looked like a figure watching me. Every passerby looked like someone who knew something I didn't. By the time I reached the bus stop, I felt like the city itself was breathing down my neck. The abandoned railway bridge sat on the outskirts of town, far past the last transit route. The steel frame stretched like a skeletal spine over a dry riverbed, rusted and half devoured by time. No trains had crossed it in decades, not since the derailment accident that killed 16 people. Locals said it was haunted. I always thought that was just rumor, until the night everything happened. The night I ran through the rain, barefoot, screaming, with Daniel chasing me through the mud, his hands covered in blood, mine and his. I had never come back here. Not once. Not even in nightmares this vivid. But now, as I climbed the dirt path leading up to the bridge, the memories returned like a suffocating wave. I touched the guardrail, rust rough and flaking beneath my fingers. The exact spot where I pushed him, where he went over the edge and disappeared into darkness. I swallowed hard. He shouldn't have survived. No one could have survived that fall. So who saved him? And why? I checked the time. 9:01 p.m. The sky was darkening into a heavy storm gray, clouds rolling like bruises. I paced the length of the bridge, forcing myself to inspect the area. No cars, no footprint, no. But Dan never worked alone. He planned. He staged everything like theater. A gust of wind howled through the skeletal frame of the bridge like a scream. Goosebumps crawled over my skin. That was when I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate, not rushing, savoring. My breath caught in my throat. I turned fast, knife ready. But it wasn't Daniel. It was Detective Harris. My chest tightened. I hadn't seen him since the night everything fell apart. He looked exhausted, older, heavier, shadows beneath his eyes. He stopped a few steps away, breathing hard, palms raised. "You shouldn't be here alone," he said. My grip on the knife tightened. "How did you know I'd come?" He exhaled through his teeth, like he'd been waiting years to say what came next. "Because he called me too." My heart nearly stopped. Harris stepped closer, voice low and urgent. "Listen, Daniel didn't survive because of luck. Someone helped him, someone powerful." I felt dizzy. "Who?" Harris scanned the tree line, anxious. "A woman. We still don't know who she is. We only know she's been enabling him. Money, false documents, medical care. She kept him hidden while he recovered." My skin went cold. "Why tell me this now?" His jaw tightened. "Because Daniel isn't after revenge. He wants control. He wants you broken. And whatever he has planned tonight, it won't stop with a conversation." Thunder rolled overhead. I narrowed my eyes. "So you're here to protect me?" Harris looked at me then, a long, unsettling gaze. "I'm here because I owe you the truth." My chest tightened. "What truth?" He hesitated, as if the words physically hurt. "We found forensic evidence from the bridge incident." You weren't the only one bleeding that night. I felt the air crush me. What are you saying? We found signs of a second victim. Someone else was attacked here. Someone who never came forward. My knees nearly buckled. Daniel wasn't alone. Harris from Daniel. Something. I tried to speak, but no words came. My memories blurred. Blood on my hands, rain, screaming. But I had always believed the screams were Daniel's. What if they weren't? I put a hand to my forehead. Everything felt like it was tearing apart inside me. A phone vibrated. Not mine. Harris pulled his from his pocket. The message on his screen was short. Move now. His face drained of color. He's watching us. That was when I heard it. A faint metallic clicking echoing under the bridge. Like the sound of a weapon being cocked. Harris seized my arm. Run. Before I could protest, a gunshot shattered the night. The bullet struck Harris in the shoulder, spinning him to the ground. He cried out in pain, gripping the wound, blood pouring through his fingers. I screamed, dropping to my knees beside him. Harris, stay with me. He grabbed my wrist with fierce desperation. Listen, don't trust anyone. Another gunshot tore through the darkness, striking the ground inches away. I dragged Harris behind the concrete support pillar, heart pounding out of my chest. His breathing was ragged, weakening fast. He wants you afraid, Harris whispered. Don't give him what he wants. I wiped blood from his face. I'm not leaving you. He shook his head violently. Go. Run. It's you he wants. If he gets you, everything ends. Tears blurred my vision. He already has everything. Harris's eyes locked to mine, dark, pleading. Then don't let him take the last thing you have left. Lightning split the sky. For a moment, I saw a figure standing at the far end of the bridge. Motionless, watching, smiling. Daniel. My lungs collapsed. And then his voice echoed across the steel frame. Midnight. I looked at the time. 11:59 p.m. Midnight. The words seemed to echo through the steel bones of the bridge, vibrating like a heartbeat I couldn't control. Rain began to fall in thin, icy blades, stinging my skin as I stood and faced the darkness where Daniel watched me. His silhouette slowly emerged through the storm, tall, motionless, terrifyingly calm. The same way he always stood right before he did something irreversible. His hands were in his pockets, like he wasn't the kind of man who had just shot a detective seconds earlier. Like he was just waiting. You came, he said, voice slicing through the rain. I swallowed hard. My voice trembled, but I forced strength into it. You threatened my brother. You left me no choice. Daniel smiled. Not a kind smile, but the kind that peeled skin off bone. People always have a choice. He stepped closer, boots clanging against rusted metal. My heartbeat hammered violently. Harris groaned behind me, clutching his shoulder, blood pooling fast. I took a step forward, blocking Daniel's view of him. Leave him out of this. You wanted me. I'm here. Daniel tilted his head, studying me like I was a puzzle he planned to dismantle piece by piece. Is that sincerity I hear? He asked softly. Or fear? I clenched my fists. Why did you come back? He blinked slowly. To collect what I'm owed. My voice cracked. You want an apology? Fine. I'll say it. He cut me off sharply. No. The words sliced through me. Not yet. Not until you understand what you did. Thunder growled overhead, rattling the metal beneath our feet. Daniel walked toward the center of the bridge and placed something down a small black voice recorder, the same kind detectives use during interrogations. He pressed a button. Static crackled. Then a recording began to play. Screaming. Raw. Terrified. Not mine. Not Daniel's. A woman's. My body went rigid. Daniel watched my face closely. There it is, he whispered. Recognition. My throat closed. The screams, I knew that voice. No. I forced myself to breathe. No, that can't be real. I tried to speak, but my voice broke. Who is that? Daniel smiled, amused by the horror unraveling inside me. Her name was Emma. My stomach twisted. I tasted iron. Emma? Daniel nodded slowly. The girl you left behind when you ran. My legs shook so hard I nearly collapsed. You're lying! He stepped closer, whispering like poison. Are you sure? The recording played again, the scream turning into choked sobs, begging. Please, please stop! Someone help me! I clamped my hands over my ears, but the sound was already inside of me, ripping open the part of my memory I had buried so deep I prayed it would rot. Flashes hit me like lightning. Rain, blood, footsteps slipping in mud, a figure struggling. Another scream. I pressed my forehead to the cold metal rail, nausea twisting my insides. Why are you doing this? I choked. Daniel crouched down so our eyes aligned. Because I want you to feel what I felt. His voice softened, almost tender. I want you to remember. Something inside me cracked the dam I built to survive. I remembered running. I remembered Daniel's hand on my wrist, dragging me toward the edge. I remembered slipping free, pushing him, believing I saved myself. But now another image surfaced, a woman behind him, trapped, trying to crawl away. I didn't help her. I didn't even see her clearly. I was too focused on escaping Daniel. And I left her there. My vision blurred. What happened to her? I whispered. Daniel stood, pacing slowly, savoring every second. You ran. I went over the edge. Emma stayed behind, bleeding, begging, waiting for you to save her. He leaned close enough that I could feel his breath. She died because of you. I shook my head violently. No, I didn't know. He laughed quietly. You never asked, did you? He stepped back, eyes burning. And now you think you're a victim. The words hit like a knife. Lightning split the sky, illuminating Daniel's face calm, certain, godlike in its cruelty. So here's how this works, he said. He reached into his coat and pulled out a gun, black, polished, familiar in the worst way. He pointed it at Harris. I screamed. No, leave him alone. Daniel's voice was silk over steel. Apologize. I froze. For what? He smirked. Say it. Every word. And believe it. Rain hammered against us. Say, I am sorry I abandoned her. I am sorry I let her die. I am sorry I turned into the monster I blamed you for being. My entire body trembled. Tears streamed down my face. Daniel, please. He cocked the gun. Say it. Harris's breathing grew ragged. Don't, he whispered. Don't give him what he wants. Daniel's voice cut through like a knife. 3. I grabbed the rail to stay upright. 2. My lungs collapsed. Harris closed his eyes. 1. My voice shattered. Stop! Daniel paused, finger tightening on the trigger. My voice broke open, bleeding like a wound. I'm sorry. Daniel's eyes glowed with triumph. Louder! I'm sorry I left her. Again! His pleasure was horrifying. I'm sorry I abandoned her to die. Harris groaned, turning his head away. Again! My voice cracked like glass. I'm sorry I became the monster I accused you of being. Silence. Daniel smiled slow, satisfied, victorious. Good girl. And then he pulled the trigger. The gunshot exploded through the night. Harris's body fell still. My scream tore the storm apart. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Aiden standing in that alley, smiling the way he used to when he was about to do something unforgivable, and pretend it was love. By morning, my phone had died from constant notifications. When I plugged it in, the screen lit up with a flood of messages. 17 missed calls from Aiden. 42 new voicemails from Aiden. Messages. Aiden wants you to apologize. I scrolled through the text first. We need to talk. I'm trying to be patient. You owe me an apology. I was good to you. Say you're sorry. That's all I want. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. You promised you'd never leave me. Pick up, please. I'm outside. My breath caught in my throat. Outside where? I snuck toward the curtains and lifted just the edge. My heart stopped. He was standing across the street. No hoodie now, just a black coat, hands in pockets, staring directly at my window. Like he knew I would look. Like he felt the moment my eyes landed on him. He lifted his hand and waved slowly. Then my phone buzzed again. Come down, we need to fix this. Like grown-ups. I stepped back, nearly tripping. No, I wasn't doing this again. I grabbed my bag, keys, and ran. My friend Lila lived 20 minutes away. We hadn't talked much since the breakup, because Aiden hated her, but she was the first person I thought of. When she opened her door and saw my face, she didn't ask anything. She just pulled me inside and locked all 4 bolts. You look like you saw a ghost, she whispered. I think I did, I said. Aiden's back. Lila's face went white. You said he was in a mental facility. He was. I don't know how he got out, but he wants something. He says I owe him an apology. Apology for what? She scoffed. For surviving him? I wanted to laugh, but I couldn't. Lila sat down beside me, gripping my hands. You're safe here. He doesn't know where I live. We'll call the police. She walked to the kitchen to get water. And then my phone pinged again. Nice apartment. Cozy. You picked a good hiding place. I froze. How did he know? Another message appeared instantly. Bathroom window. You shouldn't leave it unlocked. I looked up slowly. Across the living room, the hallway leading to the bathroom seemed to stretch forever. The door was slightly open, and through the crack, something moved. Very slowly. Lila, I whispered. Don't come back in here. Too late. She stepped into the doorway holding 2 glasses of water, smiling, until she saw my face. What is it? Calm, clean, smiling like he always did before he destroyed something. Hi, Lila, he said softly. You always got in the way. She screamed and dropped the glasses. Aiden moved faster than I could have imagined. He lunged toward her, covering her mouth before she could yell again. I threw myself at him, hitting him with everything I had. He didn't fight back. He just held Lila and looked at me, completely steady, like he was discussing dinner plans. Look what you made me do, he said. This could have been peaceful. All I wanted was an apology. Let her go, I yelled. Then say it. No. His eyes darkened. For a moment I saw nothing human in them, just an empty, bottomless hunger for control. Lila bit his hand hard enough to draw blood and ran. Aiden stumbled and grabbed her hair, dragging her back. The sound she made, I will never forget it. I found a heavy glass paperweight on the table and smashed it against Aiden's head. He dropped to one knee. Lila broke free and sprinted to the front door, fumbling with the locks. I dragged Aiden away, adrenaline burning through every muscle. The door flew open and Lila screamed, "Run!" We ran down the stairs barefoot, sprinting through the parking lot. I could hear Aiden stumbling behind us, laughing. Like this was a game. We reached the street and flagged down a car, screaming for help. The driver let us in and sped off without a word. As we drove away, I looked back. Aiden stood under the streetlight, hands in his pockets, blood running down his temple, smiling like we had just shared a joke. He mouthed something. Say sorry. That night broke something in me. I realized Aiden didn't want closure. He didn't want forgiveness. He wanted ownership, and he wasn't going to stop. Lila held my shaking hands. We're going to end this, she said, even if he kills us trying. But I knew something she didn't. Aiden didn't just want an apology. He wanted to finish what he started. And he always said, nothing ends until I decide it ends. We didn't go home. We didn't go to the police because we already knew what they would say. There's no proof. He hasn't technically done anything yet. Block his number and stay somewhere safe. Some people don't understand until it's too late. Aiden was one of those men who looked perfect on paper, charming, educated, polite in public. The kind of person people protect because they can't imagine him being a monster. But Lila and I knew better. "We're not running anymore," she said. "We take control before he takes it from us." Her voice trembled, but it was steady enough to build a plan on. There was one place Aiden would come without hesitation, a place tied to a memory he worshipped. The abandoned greenhouse on the edge of Crestwood Park. The place he asked me to move in with him. The place he carved our initials into a wooden beam and said, "We belong to each other, forever." He loved it because it was quiet, hidden, private, and that was exactly what we needed. Lila and I spent the entire day preparing. We brought rope, duct tape, a hunting knife she kept for self-defense, and her father's old stun gun. We rigged the greenhouse door so it would lock from the outside once shut. If revenge felt heavy, survival felt heavier. Just after sunset, I texted him. "I'm ready to talk. I'm sorry. Meet me at the greenhouse, alone." He replied instantly. "I knew you'd come around. See you soon, Angel." My stomach twisted. I wanted to throw up. Lila grabbed my shoulders. "We finish this tonight, no matter what." I nodded. But inside, I wasn't sure if I was ready to become someone who fought back. When Aiden arrived, fog rolled over the park, swallowing sound. He walked toward me with that same calm smile, like he was approaching an altar. "You look beautiful," he whispered. "I missed you." I stepped backward into the greenhouse. He followed without suspicion. "You came alone?" he asked casually. "I thought that's what you wanted." He reached for me, brushing his thumb across my cheek as if the world owed him my face. "You really hurt me," he breathed. "You made me into something I'm not. All I ever needed was one thing, one word. Say it now, and we can go home." Behind him, Lila stepped out from the shadows. "It's you who needs to say something," she said. Aiden turned and smiled. "Oh, the sidekick. I wondered where you went." He stepped forward, confidence radiating like poison. "That was a brave stunt you pulled this morning, but you should have stayed out of it." Lila flicked the stun gun on. It crackled, bright blue. Aiden didn't flinch. "This is cute," he murmured, "but you two are not as smart as you think." That's when I closed the door. Metal slammed. The lock snapped into place. Aiden's face shifted. Calm evaporated. His eyes turned wild, feral. "What the hell is this?" Lila lifted her chin. "This is where it ends." Aiden laughed, deep, echoing, unhinged. "You think you can trap me? You think you can win? I always win." He lunged at Lila. She fired the stun gun. Screams ripped through the glass walls. His body convulsed violently. He fell to his knees, but even then, he stared up at me and whispered, "You don't have it in you." I looked at him, shaking so hard my teeth clicked. "You're wrong." We tied him to the support beam where he carved our initials. The rope cut into his skin. He thrashed, but he was weakening. Blood trickled from his mouth as he smiled. "You think you're free after this? You'll remember me every time you close your eyes. You'll feel me in every shadow." I stepped closer, my voice steady for the first time. "No, Aiden. When I walk out that door, you become nothing." Lila handed me the phone and I hit record. "For the police," she said. "For the court. For every girl who will never have to know him." Aiden's smile slowly faded as he realized what we had. Confession, threats, intent, violence, evidence. For the first time, he looked afraid. We called the police anonymously from a block number. "We found a man tied up in the Crestwood greenhouse. He has weapons. He attacked us. Please send help." Sirens echoed in the distance. Aiden screamed, struggling, furious. "You can't leave me here. You owe me an apology." I leaned close, inches from his face. "Here it is." I whispered a single word. "Goodbye." We walked away hand in hand as police lights painted the fog red and blue. The last thing I heard was Aiden screaming my name, shredding his throat trying to pull me back into the cage he built. But this time, I didn't turn around. I live by the ocean now. I sleep through the night. I laugh without flinching. And sometimes when the wind is quiet, I remind myself of the truth. Some apologies aren't owed. Some people don't deserve